Hi, welcome to my podcast, Talking Travel with Wendy. I travel the globe interviewing really cool people in small hospitality and tourism businesses. Join me each week as I discover and share something or someone new with you. You can find more at www.travelwithwendy.net. And remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy. Hello and welcome to Talking Travel with Wendy. Today we're going somewhere that always feels like a homecoming to me, Scotland. This was my 10th visit and I went with my friend Candy as I prep for our National Geographic Journeys trip next spring. From the Highlands to the Islands, castles to cozy cafes, Scotland still surprises me. So here it is, Scotland Revisited. Let's start with the flavor. Scotland surprises me as a foodie every time. And this time in Edinburgh, we tried the Passage to India. I love Indian food. Extraordinary spices, generous portions, and the kind of meal you think about on your flight home. I'm thinking about it right now, actually. I've put the links in the description. If you like this kind of cuisine when you're traveling or just want to try new foods, I definitely recommend the Passage to India. From pakoras to curries, the staff was professional, kind, and bonus, it was also affordable. So our first part of the trip after Edinburgh, which we did enjoy a spooky tour, which I always recommend to everyone if they're going to Edinburgh, that you should for sure do a spooky tour in Edinburgh because it does have a really kind of macabre history. It dates back so long, and there is a section of the Royal Mile called the End of the World, and that's where they thought the end of the world was. So definitely that is one of my travel tips for Edinburgh. But the first part of our trip was in Pitlochry. We rented a car and we headed north, and we rolled into town at the time of the Highland games. I didn't know that that was happening. That was bad on me. But we were surprised that there was little to nowhere to park. So we decided to head up to Inverness Highland Chocolatiers. This is one of my favorite places to stop. And the weather was a bit rainy and chilly. So we stopped for a hot cocoa and some pastries. The cinnamon bundt bread was amazing. And we enjoyed some hot cocoa, and it did shift off and on throughout the day. And from Pitlochry to Inverness, we saw about 6 rainbows mid-September, and thankfully, as I was driving, Candy snapped pictures along the way, so you can see more in the blog and the vlog for that as well. But we also stopped in Blair Athol Castle, which is in Pitlochry. Imagine original furnishings, a family history that's layered room by room, and a bagpiper who plays every hour. It's so cool. I love going. The bagpiper plays usually between 10 and 15 minutes, and it just echoes throughout the grounds. It's really cool. The gardens are spectacular. There's waterfalls. They also have deer that are there as well. So it's a very good stop along the way up to the Highlands. As we were driving through the Cairngorms, you could see the remnants of the heather that was on the field. And if you hit the season right, this purple is just take your breath away spectacular. Also at the castle, there was a docent named Wendy, so I couldn't resist taking a picture of the two Wendys who both loved Scotland and history. So you can check that out in the blog as well. So once we got to Inverness, we did visit the Culloden Moor and Craignadoon. And if you're an Outlander fan, you're probably wondering if this is a real place. It actually is. It's around the bend and corner from the Culloden Moor. So it's filled with Callanish stones from the Neolithic age where they worshipped the gods of harvest and crops. It is really cool. And if you hit it at sunset, you can feel kind of the spirits of the past. It's very moving. We also visited Culloden Moor. This is where the Jacobite uprising was in 1746 with Bonnie Prince Charles. And it's storytelling is clear and compassionate, and it's very moving. So take your time and walk through the grounds slowly. It's not just history, it's like memory. So then we made our way to Lochness, and if you don't see Nessie, you'll still see castle silhouettes of Urquhart Castle. I can't ever say that right. And walk the grounds and learn the Jacobite history there that dates back to the 13th century. And the shifting light on the water is just phenomenal because it's creepy and mystical. And if you do the really early morning boat ride with the fog still on Loch Ness, the Ness Lake, it just has this dramatic effect that's pretty cool. And it's just so Scotland, like drama without effort. The next day, we went to the Isle of Skye, and Skye takes some planning. So from Inverness to Portree, it's about 3 hours, and parking fills really early. So you have to take off early if you're not going to stay on the island itself. And accommodations are limited, so you do want to make sure you book this way in advance, especially during peak season. We always grab breakfast at the Cafe Ariba, which is a self-service restaurant that has great cafe, coffee, pastries. And then we continued on to the Museum of Island Life, where we said hello to some very photogenic Highland coos. And there's a food truck there now too, and you can buy some food for the cows, and children of all age really enjoy this too. But remember, those cows can be like bullies too, so be careful. Next, we visited Eilean Donan Castle, which is nearby, and it has been in many, many movies, so everyone wants to typically stop here to get a photo op. On Skye, we also visited Kilt Rock, which is a very popular place to take photos as well. Just remember there's lots of buses there, and parking can fill up as well, so you might have to walk a little bit. The next day, we made our way to Oban. And Oban isn't on our upcoming group itinerary, but if you're planning to go to Scotland, regardless, this is a gentler day. We took the ferry to the Isle of Mull while we were there in the middle of a storm, so it was moody and gray, but still really beautiful and just gave the edge of the world feeling that you have sometimes in Scotland. And from the ferry, once you arrive on the Isle of Mull, you can take the bus to Fiona Fort for Iona and puffins when they're in season. But we chose to do Tobermory for the shop's sea life and, more importantly, lunch. We ate at McGawkins, which I was recommended to do, and it has some of the best seafood we've had on the trip. And later on, the sun slid out from behind the clouds and turned the harbor into a painting. And we wrapped up our day in the Oban harbor after a nice ferry ride back at Marky Dan's, and Candy shared some of her sticky toffee pudding with me. It was delicious. And of course, they had live music playing too, so it was just really fun atmosphere. The next day, we made our way back to Edinburgh, but we stopped in Stirling, and Stirling has always been one of my someday places, and I've never made it, so I was really thrilled that we were able to stop and kind of do like a full day trip in Stirling. We stopped at a restaurant called Cisco's and had breakfast. It was a full breakfast menu, and I enjoyed avocado toast, and Candy had coffee and pastries. And then we made our way up to Stirling Castle, but we got to walk through the old town, and this was just really pretty. The architecture's still intact, and the history of the castle itself dates back to the 1100s. And while we were there, a musician performed French Renaissance music, and it just floated through the rooms, and you could hear just the centuries talking to each other. Scotland has strong ties to France and England, so the music was French Renaissance, and the musicians were all costumed out. So that was just really cool, and I'll put more in the vlog about that. If you have time, the Wallace Museum is nearby also, but we didn't have time because we wanted to make it back to Edinburgh to just kind of relax before dinner. And the city itself was just spectacular, and I am absolutely going to be visiting Stirling again because it was one of the highlights of this trip. Okay, before flying out, I like to be close to the airport when you're like about 10, 15 minutes away. So we were taking the rental car back anyway, and I found a place called the Bridge Inn, and it was in the town of Ratho, and this was about 7 to 10 minute drive from the airport, so it was really great. And this old inn has canals that surrounded it, so I took a really nice long walk along the canals when we got there, and it was a beautiful day. It just reminded me of the canals of Amsterdam, but here I was just 10 minutes from the Edinburgh airport. The restaurant inside the Bridge Inn was just phenomenal. Very, very good. We enjoyed fish and chips and a steak pie for our last night in Scotland. I will give you a pro tip though. You'll definitely want to book a reservation because this restaurant filled up. So if this trip has you dreaming of Scotland, I would love for you to come with us in spring. Our National Geographic's Journey Adventure with G Adventures is a ladies-only tour from April 28th to May 7th, starting in Edinburgh and ending in Glasgow. Many of the travelers are doing add-on or staying a little bit longer. There's only going to be 11 travelers and there's only a few spots left. So pricing is starting at $41.49 for a 9-day tour, and they are expected to increase in December. So get it in while you can. And I can show you how to reserve your spot if you leave a message with me, or you send me a message at wendy@travelwithwendy.net, and then just in the subject line put Scotland trip. So Scotland welcomes me back every time like I'm an old friend and shows me something new every single time. And this time it was rainbows in the Cairngorm Forest and music in castle halls, and it always keeps its promises. So I know I'm going to be back this spring, but I will be back for a longer stay as well because Scotland just has my heart. So thanks so much for listening. Until next time, keep wandering and keep wondering. And remember, it's always an adventure when you travel with Wendy. And this time, candy. Wink, wink. Ciao.